What happens when a street cop with a high school education goes up against a killer with a genius-level IQ?
You'd think it's not even a fair fight, right? The genius would run circles around the deed.
And sometimes the smartest person in the room makes the dumbest mistakes because they're too busy being clever.
This is the story of a triple homicide in Detroit that baffled the FBI, stumped forensic.
By the end of this, you'll understand why IQ means absolutely nothing when you're sitting across from someone who knows how to read people better than you know how to read books.
And you see how TH.
Mix of old money and new development. Historic homes next to modern condos. The kind of area where gentrification meets tradition, and sometimes they get along and sometimes they don't. 3:17 a.m. Patrol. Officers Marcus Webb and Christina Torres arrived at 3:23 a.m. The front door was unlocked, slightly ajar. They announced themselves, entered with weapons drawn.
Standard procedure. Clear each floor me.
He was in his living room, appeared to have been sitting on his couch when he was killed. A laptop was open on the coffee table, still running. Screen showed he'd been working on code.
Officers Webb A. Both shot execution style. 2 shots each, chest and head.
They were in their bedroom, appeared to have been asleep when they were killed. 3 victims, 3 apartments, all killed with the same met. Divorced, 2 kids he barely saw. Lived for the job because the job was all he had left. He'd worked over 300 homicides in his career. Gang shootings, domestic violence, robberies gone wrong.
2 shots each, same placement. No extra rounds fired. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing, Morris agreed. But why? What's the connection between a software engineer, a nurse, and a T?
No fingerprints except the victims. No DNA evidence. No forced entry. No witnesses. Security cameras in the building?
There was one in the lobby, but it had been spray painted over earlier, that if any.
She'd heard the shots around M, called police, but she hadn't seen anyone entering or leaving the building.
She'd just heard the gunfire and hid in her bathroom until police arrived.
By noon on April, parents lived in California, had talked to him 2 days before he was killed. Everything seemed fine.
His boss at the tech startup said Michael was working on a major project, some kind of security, so David Brennan, high school teacher, taught English literature at Cass Technical High School, one of Detroit's best public schools. Students loved him. Colleagues respected him. No issues.
3 normal.
Michael posted about tech stuff occasionally. Sarah posted photos of her and David. David posted book recommendations. Normal, boring, suburban life stuff. On April 6th, the medical examiner's report. The Me noted something else. The shooter was exceptionally skilled. Both shots on each victim were perfectly placed. Whoever did this has either military training or extensive practice, the Me told.
Special Agent Rebecca Torres, no relation to Officer Torres, reviewed everything.
This is organized offender behavior at the highest level, Agent Torres told Parker. Your killer is intelligent, Met. Parker was reviewing security footage from businesses near 1847 Vermont Street, trying to spot anyone suspicious in the days leading up to the murders. Coffee shops, restaurants, gas stations, anything.
For 43 minutes,
Parker froze the frame, tried to get a clear image of the man's face.
The angle wasn't great, but you could see he was white, maybe late 20s or early 30s, wearing GL. April 1st, same table, same behavior.
March 31st, same thing. March 28th, March 25th. This guy had been watching that building for at least 2 weeks before the murders. Parker showed the footage to T.
Nice guy, tips well. Vincent what?
I don't know his last name, but he pays with a credit card. I can pull the receipts. 10 minutes later, Parker had a name, Vincent Castellano. And when he ran T.
Vincent had been a child prodigy, tested at IQ 170 at age 8, which put him in the top 0.1% of the population. Skipped 3 grades, graduated high school at 14, had a PhD in applied mathematics. Vincent had then become a freelance consultant, data analysis and algorithm development for various clients.
And here's where it got interesting. Vincent had been arrested twice.
Once in 2018 for as Michael Chun had worked at the same tech startup where Vincent had been a consultant for 3 months in 2020. They'd worked together on a project. According to HR records, Michael had filed a comply. According to hospital records, Vincent had become inappropriately attached to Sarah, had asked her out multiple times. Sarah had politely declined and reported him to hospital security. Vincent had, "Your husband doesn't deserve you." One email read,
He's intellectually inferior.
You should be with someone who can match your intelligence. Sarah had filed a police report about the emails in 2019.
Sarah had rejected his romantic advances.
David was guilty by association, married to the woman Vincent wanted.
And Vincent, with his genius-level IQ, had spent 2 years planning the perfect revenge.
Vincent had purchased a 9mm Glock pistol from a private seller in March 2021. Perfectly legal in Michigan. He'd paid cash. No paper trail beyond the initial background check.
His phone record showed
he'd used his home computer, thought he was being smart by using a VPN and incognito mode.
But Detroit PD's cybercrimes unit was smarter.
They found deleted search history going back months.
How to?
But he'd done it from his home IP address, and he'd been sloppy about deleting the evidence.
For someone with an IQ of 170, he'd made a remarkably stupid mistake.
Parker had enough for an arrest warrant.
Can I help you?
Vincent Castellano, you're under arrest for the murders of Michael Chern, Sarah Brennan, and David Brennan. Vincent's expression didn't change. No shock, no fear, no anger.
Just AS. His attorney arrived within an hour. A high-priced defense lawyer named Robert Chern, no relation to the victim.
Chern spoke with Vincent privately for 30 minutes. Then they agreed to an interview. I'm going to be straight with you. We have evidence that places you at the scene. We have your search history. We have your phone records. We know you purchased a 9mm Glock. We know you had conflicts. 25 years on the force, high school diploma, no college degree, respectable clearance rate, nothing spectacular. Tell me, how does it feel to finally catch a real challenge? Must be exciting F.
So will hundreds of other people.
I search topics that millions of people search. True crime is incredibly popular right now. Have you noticed?
I purchased a firearm legally. So have 3 million. Oh, juries are statistically irrational, Vincent said.
They make decisions based on emotion, not logic.
But my attorney will ensure they see the logical flaws in your case. Maybe.
But I'm curious,
For someone so smart, that's a pretty dumb error for the first time. Vincent looked uncertain.
I used a VPN.
Incognito mode. There's no way our cybercrimes unit is really good, Parker said. B. This was a battle of intellect now, and Vincent couldn't resist.
All right, detective, let's play this out. You have my search history.
Prove I wasn't just curious about true crime.
You have my phone arm. Where is the murder weapon, Vincent? If I had committed these hypothetical murders, which I didn't, I would have disposed of the weapon immediately.
Probably in the Detroit River.
It's deep. It's gloss.
What does that mean? It means we've had divers in the Detroit River since yesterday afternoon.
Searching the area closest to your apartment, and you want to know what they found this morning?
6.
Ballistics are being tested right now, but I'm pretty confident they'll match the bullets we pulled from the victims. This was a lie. They hadn't found the gun.
Parker was bluffing, gambling that Vang. But Vincent couldn't see the details clearly from across the table.
And his mind, his brilliant, analytical mind, was racing through possibilities. If they had the gun, they had physical evidence.
But Vincent's ego wouldn't let him see it.
He thought he was still being smart, making the logical choice, minimizing his losses. They have the gun, Robert.
It's over, but I can negotiate from a Poe. The surveillance, the planning, entering the building through a back window he'd left unlocked days earlier after picking the lock. He described killing Michael first, then going upstairs to kill Sarah.
Called my algorithm fundamentally flawed in front of our entire team.
He humiliated me.
Someone that intellectually inferior should not have been allowed to judge my work. And Sarah, she reject. A man who reads books other people wrote because he lacks the intelligence to create anything original himself. Parker let him talk. Every word was being recorded, and every word was another nail in.
What have you done? They didn't have the gun. That was a bluff.
He showed you a stock photo on his phone. Vincent's face went from pale to white.
What? There are no divers. There's no gun. You Jew. He just lied.
A simple, stupid lie that any street criminal would have seen through.
But Vincent, with all his genius, had believed it because he couldn't imagine the police being clever enough to be LU. The prosecution presented Vincent's confession, his search history, his phone records, the circumstantial evidence. The defense tried to argue that Vincent had falsely confessed under psychological PR. Sentencing in November 2021, the judge, a no-nonsense woman named Patricia Morrison, gave Vincent 3 consecutive life sentences without possibility of parole.
Mr. Castellano, Judge Morrison said, you will spend the rest of your life in prison. Not because you weren't smart enough to get away with murder, but because you were too arrogant to understand that other people matter. Vincent showed. He gave lectures at police academies, FBI training seminars, even did a TED talk about the psychology of interrogation.
Intelligence is overrated, Parker said in one of his lectures.
I'm not a Jenny.
He'd never been in a real fight, never been lied to by a professional liar, never had to survive on the streets. His intelligence was theoretical.
Mine is practical.
And in that interrogation room, PR, Sarah Brennan's parents established a foundation in her name to support victims of stalking.
David Brennan's brother wrote a book about the case, The Professor's Victims, which became a bestseller. Her theory: Vincent's genius-level IQ had actually been a liability his entire life. Vincent was always the smartest person in any room, Dr. Torres wrote.
This created a psychological disconnect further.
When he finally encountered genuine failure, when Michael Chun criticized his work and Sarah Brennan rejected his advances, he had no emotional tools to process that failure.
His only framework was in.
Vincent Castellano is currently serving his sentence at Barriga Maximum Correctional Facility in Michigan's Upper Peninsula.
According to prison records, he is a model inmate.
Spends his time reading. T.
Asked him if he regretted the murders.
Vincent thought for a long time. Then he said, I regret getting caught.
I don't regret the murders themselves. From a utilitarian perspective, I removed 3P. My contributions to mathematics and data science have real-world applications that affect millions of people. So no, I don't regret the murders. I regret underestimating Detective Parker. The Journal. What's that?
He'd spent his entire life dealing with people like me, criminals who think they're smarter than everyone else.
He knew my type, and he knew exactly which button to push to make me see.
People were horrified by Vincent's complete lack of remorse, his cold calculation, his continued belief in his own superiority, even from prison. But it also sparked a larger conversation about genius.
He followed up, found the connection, built the case methodically. That's good detective work. What they got wrong initially: tunnel vision on physical evidence.
The first few days, Parker was so focal.
If Vincent had called a bluff, asked to see the gun in person, examined the serial number, the whole confession falls apart. Parker got lucky that Vincent's arrogance made him overconfident in the P.
He read cases, analyzed evidence, planned meticulously, but he'd never actually talked to criminals, never understood how investigations really work, never experienced the pressure of an interrogation. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit now uses this case as a teaching tool. They call it the Castellano Paradox. High intelligence can make someone more dangerous, but it can also make them more pretty. He'd been arrested twice for assault and stalking. He'd sent threatening emails. Every single institution, the companies, the police, the courts, they all handled these incidents individually.
No, but if there had been better information sharing, if the tech companies had flagged his terminations, if the police had taken the stalking more seriously, if the courts had mandated psychological evaluating.
After Vincent's conviction, Michigan passed Sarah's law requiring employers to report terminations involving threats or violent behavior to a state database that's accessible to law enforcement.
I think about this case a lot.
About Vincent Castellano sitting in his prison cell, still believing he's superior to everyone around him. About Detective James Parker, who proved that wisdom and EXP.
He's planned everything perfectly.
He's left no evidence. Do you try to match his intelligence? Do you study psychology and forensics and try to outthink him?
Or do you trust your instincts? Use your...
To believe that street smarts could beat book smarts. Here's what haunts me though. Vincent isn't special. There are millions of highly intelligent people in this country.
Most of them use their gifts, and those people are extremely dangerous because they have the intellectual capacity to plan sophisticated crimes and the emotional dysfunction to carry them out without remorse.
Vincent Castellano is.
The difference is, most of them operated in eras before modern forensics and surveillance.
Vincent tried to operate in 2021, where cameras are everywhere and cyber forensics can recover deleted files.
Detective James Parker retired in 2024 at age 51. He planned to work until 60, but the Vincent Castellano case took something out of him. In his retirement interview, he talked about City. Sarah Brennan was an obstacle. David was collateral damage.
Vincent couldn't understand why that was wrong. I tried to explain it to him once, after the trial. I said, these were human beings with far. He's written a book about the case, Outsmarting Genius, How experience beat intelligence in a triple homicide, which sold moderately well.
He does speaking tours, teaches interrogation techniques. L. I got lucky, Parker admitted in a 2024 podcast interview.
Vincent's arrogance was his downfall. But what if he'd been humble? What if he'd recognized that he didn't know everything? He might still.
Sarah Brennan's parents still live in Detroit, run their foundation, try to turn their grief into something positive. David Brennan's brother teaches at the same high school where David worked, trying. So here's my final question for you. What defines a person's worth?
Is it their intelligence, their achievements,
their contributions to society?
Vincent Castellano would argue yes.
He's smarter than
that. Michael's kindness, Sarah's compassion, David's passion for teaching, these things mattered. That they had families who loved them, friends who valued them, students whose lives they touched.
Bang! Detective Parker understood something Vincent never will. The best investigators aren't the smartest ones.
They're the ones who understand people,
Who can read emotion, predict behavior, connect with.
whether you can feel empathy, compassion, connection. Vincent Castellano will die in prison, having never understood this basic truth.
He'll die believing he was right, that he was superior,
And Detective James Parker will remember that the best way to catch a monster isn't to become smarter than them. It's to never forget how to be human.
Sleep well.
And remember, the scariest people are.
And sometimes they're right about that.
But being the smartest person in the room doesn't mean you're the most dangerous.
Sometimes it just means you're the easiest to predict.